Heyo, welcome back to the Undrafted and Unqualified Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm Anthony, and I'll be here doing this episode. Just me today. Big one for you guys. We're going to be doing some free agency predictions. Tampering period starts in just a couple hours here, so I'm getting this in pretty much just in time. By the time you're watching this, you'll probably know where some guys are signing already. Regardless, going to be an exciting episode. I'm going to get these out before we have any knowledge of where anyone's going. So don't worry about that. And I will check at the end just in case there's any live, rumors or things like that. But I'll be getting that out to you guys as well. So very fun episode today. Looking forward to it. We'll be able to check back in, see how I've done, things like that. Yeah, as always, got a little news first. But yeah, we're into the exciting part of the offseason. Free agency starts today. This is fun. We got the draft in about a month and a half. That's always fun. We'll do more work on that as well. Yeah, but let's get right into the news. First bits of news, a couple more tags. Breece Hall, franchise tagged. Can't escape the Jets. Hopefully he gets an extension done. I mean, I feel bad for the guy. They're like trapping him there. It's very clear he wants out. It's not a great fit at the moment. Um, I mean, maybe things work out. They get an extension done, and Breece ends up being happy there. But terrible franchise. They're keeping him trapped. What this means for fantasy, I guess similar outlook to the past few years with Breece Hall. And the other tag is Daniel Jones. The team, what was it? The transition tag, not franchise tag. So the Colts transition tagged Daniel Jones, meaning that other teams can go out and sign him. It's essentially like they have a chance. The Colts have a chance to match, but if they don't want to, say a team goes and signs him for a ton of money, and Daniel Jones can accept that offer. It's likely he's staying in Indy, so he won't be on the episode of predictions for today. But just want to put that out there that it is possible he gets a deal somewhere else and takes it, but very likely he stays with Indianapolis. A lot of releases. First few big ones. Kyler Murray gets his release. Not sure who the quarterback's going to be for Arizona next year. We'll see. Kyler will be in the predictions today, so you'll hear from me on where I think he'll end up. Stefon Diggs, released from the Patriots, disappointing. I'm a little disappointed. He was a great locker room guy, kind of surprisingly. I mean, Stefon Diggs doesn't have the greatest credibility in his character, but he was great with the pregame speeches, great locker room guy for the Patriots. We went to the Super Bowl with him, first 1,000-yard receiver in some years. Sucks to see him go, but, got to factor in that it's a business. So, cutting some cap there, I can understand that a little bit. Seems like they're going to do something. The Patriots will do something at receiver. As for Diggs, he'll be in the predictions later. Tua, also released. Tua will be in the predictions later. Curious to see what the Dolphins do at quarterback. Quinn Ewers is probably not the guy you want to move forward with, but I guess Tua's been getting shopped around for a trade for a while and just nothing came to. That's the third and final guy from who's gotten released. That will be in the predictions today. Another few names though. Joe Mixon gets his release. So, the Texans trade for David Montgomery. Very clear they're moving on from Mixon. I'm not even sure if Mixon will continue to play after missing a whole season. It could very well be retirement for Joe Mixon. Kind of irrelevant for fantasy, regardless if he plays or not. Jonnu Smith gets released. Arthur Smith is gone from the Steelers, and so is Jonnu Smith. They don't need three tight ends. Darnell Washington, absolute beast, absolute unit. So they'll move forward with him and Pat Freiermuth. Although I think Freiermuth may be a free agent. Regardless, they're moving on from Jonnu Smith. Kind of irrelevant for fantasy until we see something happen. Darnell Mooney gets his release. Falcons, they have nothing over there. Hopefully they make a move, especially if they're trying to stick with Michael Penix. But it's Drake London, Kyle Pitts. There's also rumors Kyle Pitts could get traded off the franchise tag. So we'll take a look there. But, I mean, there's two guys there and nobody else. Bijan Shore out of the backfield, I get that. But for receivers, not a lot of options there. So Darnell Mooney goes. Probably not relevant for fantasy football. But if somebody with some caliber goes to the Falcons, he could have some relevance for fantasy. And lastly, Geno Smith got released. It's very clearly Mendoza is going to be the quarterback for the Raiders unless something crazy happens pre-draft. But yeah, it looks like Geno was awful last year, probably the worst quarterback in the league. Didn't work out. They fired Pete Carroll. It was a mess last year. So they're clearing house. They're getting rid of Geno. I think Geno will get a job, potentially starting job somewhere. So we'll see. I've heard the Cardinals might be interested. Don't like that, but yeah, we'll keep an eye on it. I don't know where he'll go or if he'll be relevant for fantasy, but we'll take a watch there. Couple trades, big time trades. DJ Moore gets traded to the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen gets another wide receiver one, similar to when he got Stephon Diggs. It's been a couple years since he's had a true one. This is big. I mean, if Josh Allen wasn't going to be the QB1 already, this should solidify it even more. DJ Moore, this is great news for his outlook. I think he will be a very solid option, probably a wide receiver 2 range. I don't think I'll be able to go up to the wide receiver 1 range, even though he should get a ton of targets. Just because I think it's been a couple years since DJ Moore's done a lot. Although he did work with Joe Brady when he was in Carolina, and he had a couple great seasons over there. So I wouldn't be surprised if people get bullish on DJ Moore. I probably won't be too bullish on him, but I could buy into a little bit of the hype just off rip from now. But yeah, big news for DJ Moore, big news for Josh Allen. Kind of sucks for Khalil Shakir, who's been doing great work over there. I don't think they're done either. I'll mention that later. There might be something in the predictions. Yeah, I'll stop right there. Other trade, Max Crosby to the Ravens. Big deal. That's huge. Joe Burrow's got to go against Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, and Max Crosby a total of 6 times this season. So that's brutal. Great trade, I think, for both sides. I think the Raiders got 2 firsts. They wanted that. Max Crosby goes to a good destination. I think Baltimore can, continue to help him play very well. I think it's a good deal for both sides. So, yeah, not much fantasy relevance there, but that, yeah. And then also, I'm pretty sure, as I'm starting recording, or a couple minutes just right before, yeah, Rashawn Gary traded to the Cowboys for a 4th, and Minkah Fitzpatrick traded to the Jets for, I want to say, a 7th maybe. Regardless, he also got extended. So congrats Jets. You got hopefully something. Couple more trades, not relevant to fantasy football, but they're happening right now. Pretty fun to bring up. But all right, I wanna breeze through this episode today because I want to get this out, and I want to get it out before the tampering period begins at 12 o'clock noon today, Monday, March 9th. Begins today. So I got a ton of names here. I got QB, running back, wide receiver, tight end. Got a ton of names. So we're going to go through them all where I think they'll go. Maybe we'll keep tabs on how I've done. And that could be pretty fun throughout this offseason. But quarterbacks, let's start there. The first name I want to bring up, let's just stick with Kyler Murray just because he was there when I mentioned he got released. There's a lot of smoke of him going to the Minnesota Vikings, and that is where I think he will end up. I think it'll be him. I think J.J. McCarthy's still going to be around, and, hopefully this pushes J.J. I think J.J.'s not going to get a chance. I think Kyler's going to win the job easily, and that's great news for Justin Jefferson, for T.J. Hawkinson even, Jordan Addison, yeah, as well. Hopefully, there's no more, legal action or legal things going on behind the scenes for Jordan Addison, but great news for Justin Jefferson if that's the case. Great news for Kyler too. Probably going to have him back end top 12. I mean, he's a rushing quarterback and he goes into a Kevin O'Connell system. I like that a lot for Kyler. So we'll see what they do at running back now that they've released Aaron Jones, which I mentioned last episode. But I don't know if Jordan Mason's good enough to be a lead guy on his own. So I would anticipate they might do something at running back. We'll see whether it's through the draft, free agency. I wouldn't be surprised if they bring a body in. But yeah, I do buy the hype. I think Kyler Murray will end up with the Minnesota Vikings. And Tua, another release. I think I'm gonna buy the hype here too. I think he's going to the Jets. No trade could get done. It makes a lot of sense for Tua to just go to the Jets. The Jets kind of want him, and it just, I don't know. It just checks out. Nobody wants this quarterback. The Jets are the worst team in the league. Oh yeah, we'll take him. So I think it makes a lot of sense for the both sides. I don't love it for either team. I think for the Dolphins, it's like, okay, what do you do here? I think for the Jets, it's like, I mean, okay, Tua is definitely an upgrade from Fields. He's definitely an upgrade from Tyrod Taylor, from Brady Cook, who were not good either. But I think Garrett Wilson can benefit from this. I think he can. So hopefully that's good news for Garrett Wilson. Hopefully it'll turn out to be okay, but it's the Jets. Don't trust the Jets. I don't really trust Tua right now. Just makes sense for both sides. That's where he's going to end up. So I'm buying the hype there. This one, Malik Willis. This is a fun one. A lot of people are talking about where's he going to go. The Browns, the Cardinals, the Steelers people are listening now too. I have him going to none of those teams. I got the Miami Dolphins. I know that's a rumor as well. Those are kind of the four teams I've heard the most. I think the Dolphins are a good fit for Malik Willis. I think they should pay him. I think he will be productive there. It makes sense with what's his name, the new head coach over there, Jeff Hafley. He's coming from Green Bay. I mean, he was the defensive coordinator in Green Bay. He goes over to Miami. I think Malik Willis follows suit. I think Malik Willis, it makes a lot of sense for him to be a Dolphin. I think the Dolphins or the Cardinals are probably the best two options. I'm going with the Dolphins. I'm definitely in on that one. I think I'm kind of convinced for whatever reason. I think I'm pretty convinced he's going to end up as a Dolphin. So that would be fun for fantasy. A lot of running with his legs. And Waddle could hopefully benefit from Malik Willis after the play he had this past year, which was great. So those are the quarterbacks. We'll go to running backs. This is probably the most exciting one for the year. So running backs, a lot of big names. Wide receiver, not as much. Tight ends, there's a couple good ones too. Running backs, these are the fun ones though. Travis Etienne, we'll start there. For whatever reason, I think Travis Etienne's going to re-sign in Jacksonville. I don't really know why. I think he is. I know Liam Cohen liked him this year, and there's a lot of smoke about him leaving the team, going somewhere else, getting a bag. I really think Travis Etienne is going to stick around. I don't know how they're going to get it done. I know he'll probably cost a lot of money, but I just see them moving with him and Bashal Tutin moving forward. I couldn't give you a clear answer as to why. I just think it's very much they want him around. He was very productive this year. I think Chicago's another good option for where he could end up if he leaves the team, but I'm sticking with him re-signing. So we'll see what happens. There's a very good chance he leaves the team, but I think he is going to stick around. Ken Walker, that's the other big one. Where's he going to go? Is he going to stay in Seattle, which costs a lot of money? Don't know if he will at this point. Will he go to Washington? I've heard a lot of rumors about that lately. He'd be the lead back. Great signing for that team. The Giants, a lot of smoke around that. That's the team I'm going with. I don't like it, but I do kind of believe he could end up there. Big Blue, pay him some money, let him be the 1A to Cam Scadaboo's 1B, if they even want Scadaboo to be a 1B and not a 2 totally. So I kind of feel like Ken Walker's going to end up with the Giants. I'd like to see him go elsewhere. Predictions, I'm going off of where I think he'll end up, not where I want him to. So I think he will end up with the Giants. Where I would want him to go, maybe probably Washington, honestly. Probably Washington. So we'll see what happens. But, I predict he's going to end up in Big Blue. Don't love it. I want him to get his own backfield. He was so good in the playoffs and when he was finally by himself without Charbonnet. Granted, I know it was unfortunate. It was due to an ACL tear for Zach Charbonnet. But Ken Walker can be the guy. I'd love to see him be the guy. Hopefully he goes somewhere else. Hopefully I'm wrong on this one. Hopefully. But I do think he'll end up a Giant. Replacing him in Seattle, I think Rico Dowdle is going to go to Seattle. I do think Ken Walker is going to leave. So I think somebody else is going to go there and replace him. I think Rico Dowdle is going to be a much cheaper option. He's been very productive. I don't think Charbonnet is going to be ready for week one, so I think Rico Dowdle can go right in and be very productive for this team. I think Rico would be very fun for fantasy in this regard too. But yeah, I think Rico Dowdle is going to be the guy that they go after and they seek to replace Ken Walker. Ken Walker's better. Let's just be blunt. Ken Walker is better. But I think Rico can garner some interest on the open market. And I know he wants his own backfield. I don't know if it'll be entirely his own backfield anywhere, unless the Chiefs get him. Maybe that'd be really cool actually. But for Rico too. But I think he's going to go to Seattle. I really see Rico as a replacement for Ken Walker, and I think that would be honestly a cool fit too. So that's where I think Rico's going to go. J.K. Dobbins, I see him returning. I know I've seen him rumored to go to the Saints too, but I see J.K. Dobbins returning. I think him and Harvey, it worked out pretty well. I know they want to spend at running back and tight end this offseason. Sean Payton's come out and said that. I think they're just going to stick with their guy, get Dobbins back. I think it makes a lot of sense. He was productive for them last year. So I'm sticking with Dobbins re-signing. Kenny Gainwell, I'm sending him to New Orleans. And the only reason I'm even bringing Gainwell into this conversation is because he was productive for fantasy last year. So I got Gainwell going to New Orleans. I think for whatever reason, it's kind of like the Kamara light, great pass catcher. Not a great runner, but he's a great pass catcher. And I think it could be very nice. Maybe they stick with Devin Neal as a ground guy, ground and pound, or Kendre Miller coming back from injury, ground and pound, and then you get Gainwell as kind of a change of pace guy. I just don't see the Saints really going out and getting a big name. So I think Gainwell makes a lot of sense for the Saints, and I'm buying into that one. The next guy up, two more names at the running back position. Rachaad White, I bring this up because I think he'll go to Washington, play with his quarterback from Arizona State of Jaden Daniels. I think Rachaad White could be productive. If he is the only guy that signs out at the running back position with Washington, I think he could be a very productive back. I don't think he's the most efficient back. I get that. But when he moves to a different offense, he plays with his old quarterback, I think this could be good. I think he could be a back-end RB2 just based on volume. So I kind of like this move, and I'm bringing it up for fantasy purposes. But I really do anticipate Rachaad White going to Washington. I think he's already rumored or hinted at that himself. So, yeah. Tyler Algier, last name here. I think the Chiefs are going to get him. I think the Chiefs are going to not go too big. I think they're going to get Tyler Algier, and they're going to pay him whatever amount of money. And Tyler Algier, I think, could be very productive for fantasy football as a Kansas City Chief. So it kind of excites me that Algier could be very good for fantasy. He could be an RB2 in this Chiefs offense, getting all the work. I do think Pacheco's going to leave. I'm not going to mention because I just don't think he's going to have any role. So I'm mentioning guys who I think could be relevant for fantasy as well. That's why I brought up Gainwell, Rachaad White, Tyler Algier. Just based on landing spots, I think they could be productive for fantasy. Pacheco, I just don't think he will be wherever he goes. San Fran could be a fun one, a little change of pace back for McCaffrey, but I think he leaves and becomes a backup somewhere. But yeah, Algier would be awesome with the Chiefs, and I think it would be not a lot of money and very productive for them. Let's move on to the wide receiver position. Not as exciting, so sorry we got through the fun position already. But wide receivers, Tyreek Hill, I'm anticipating a reunion with the Chiefs. I see it happening. I think it's either that or retire. I think he's cooked, and I just think it'd be fun for him to return to the Chiefs, so I'm buying that hype. Stephon Diggs, I think he's going to go to Baltimore. And this is probably the first name where there hasn't been any sort of rumors or anything that's popped up for a name so far that, the running backs, I'm bringing up guys with name where they've been rumored already. Quarterback, same idea. Diggs, for whatever reason, I think could go to Baltimore. And I think it just kind of makes sense. They like these older guys sometimes, like DeAndre Hopkins. They had Odell at one time, right? So they like kind of these older, washed names that were good at one time. I think they could go for Diggs. I don't think Diggs is done either. I think he'd drop in production quite a bit going to Baltimore. But, playing along Zay Flowers and he's got Lamar Jackson as quarterback, he could be very productive once again. I think Baltimore's gonna do something at wide receiver, and I think it's gonna be Diggs. I really do. I know Washington is garnering some hype, so that's definitely a possibility. I was thinking about Washington, but I'm going with Baltimore. I think he's gonna be a Raven. This is probably the most wild card pick I've had so far, but I do think Stephon Diggs will be a Raven next year. Mike Evans, I think he'll return. It's also probably because I want him to return. I really don't want him leaving and going somewhere like the Eagles have been a rumor. It wouldn't be great for him. I'd want him to stay. I really want him to stay. And a part of me really thinks he will as well. I'm kind of like maybe 60-40, thinking 60 he'll stay, 40 he'll leave. So I'm hoping for the best. I think there's a good chance that he stays, and that would be great for fantasy, great for him and his legacy. So we'll see. Deebo Samuel, I see him returning to the 49ers, kind of similar to Tyreek going to his old team. Don't think he'll have much production, but at the same time, Brandon Ayuk's out the door. Juwan Jennings, who I'll mention next, I think is going to be on a different team. Kittle's been hurt. Deebo could go and he could be decently productive. It'll be him and Ricky Pearsall and Christian McCaffrey out of the backfield, and that's kind of it. So I do think Deebo will go back to the 49ers. That could be a fun fit too, and it would be nice to have him back for Brock Purdy. But we'll see. We'll see. I don't know how good the relationship over there is anymore. Juwan Jennings, as I said, I think he's leaving. I think he's going to go to Vegas. I think Vegas is going to do something, and I think they're going to go get Juwan Jennings. And, man, he could be fun for fantasy football. Him and Brock Bowers kind of as the two guys, and Mendoza throwing the ball, Genti out of the backfield. That could be a very fun team for fantasy next year. I think Juwan can get kind of a bag. He'll probably get a bag from Vegas because they got to pay the tax of being terrible. So I think he'll end up with Vegas for whatever reason, and that could be very exciting. Not much more to that one. Alec Pierce. Now, I think there's a good chance he stays. I really do. I think there's a good chance he stays with the Colts. However, that's not where I'm predicting. I know the Pats are gaining a lot of smoke that he'll end up in New England. I get that. I think he's going to go to the Bills. Don't really know why. I know there's been some rumors of him going to the Bills as well. I think he's going to go there, and that would create a beautiful trio for Josh Allen, where you have DJ Moore as your X. He's kind of the alpha receiver. Alec Pierce is your deep threat. And then you got Khalil Shakir in the slot. That's a really nice trio of different types of receivers. I think the Bills would be very smart to go do that. Will they? Probably not, but I'm sticking with the prediction. I had this even before DJ Moore went over there, but I'm going to stick with Alec Pierce. Going to Buffalo, I think they do that. They're in great shape offensively. It's going to be one of the deadliest offenses, but rumors are he could garner over $30 million a year. So Alec Pierce will probably get paid. I hope the Patriots don't do that, which is part of the reason I am not predicting him to the Patriots. I'd be very disappointed if we just cut Diggs to bring in Alec Pierce for over $30 a year, who to me is a pure deep threat. So, we'll see. We'll see. I think there's a good chance he goes to the Patriots, good chance he stays with the Colts, but I'm taking the fun route. I think he's going to go to Buffalo. Two more names for you. Wan'Dale Robinson, I'm buying all the hype, all the smoke that he's going to follow Brian Daboll over to Tennessee. I think most people are predicting him to go to Tennessee. It makes so much sense. I think Wan'Dale's going to be a Tennessee Titan next year. Kind of hard to predict otherwise. Unless the Giants pay him a bag to stay, I really think he's going to be a Titan, and I'm sticking with that prediction as many people have as well. And that leaves kind of some space with the Giants. I think Romeo Doubs is going to go there to replace him. I mean, you'll have Malik Neighbors on one side, Romeo Doubs on the other. I think it makes a lot of sense. I think Doubs is just kind of a solid 2, and behind a true number one in Malik Neighbors, I think this could be a great fit. I think it could be a great signing. Dobbs is an interesting one. I think he's a true wild card of where he could end up. I've heard Jets, I've heard Eagles, I've heard Giants, or maybe I'm just making that up because I think he's going to go to the Giants. But yeah, I think Dobbs could end up a Giant, and he could be decent for fantasy in that way too. So those are the wide receivers. Tight ends. I got three names for you. David Njoku's the first one. I think Njoku's going to go to Miami. They have a big need at the position. Waller is just not it. He came back. He wasn't healthy all year. I think Njoku will be in Miami, and I think he'll be great for my prediction of Malik Willis. So I think it'll be Waddle, Njoku, Achane, Willis. I think that could be a very fun offense. I think all of those guys could be pretty relevant for fantasy football. So I think Njoku, he's got a lot left in the tank. Harold Fannon's clearly the guy. I mean, he deals with injury a lot, Njoku, but I think he's a great option for fantasy football. Great tight end. He's an athletic freak himself. So Miami, I think that's a perfect landing spot. I've heard Falcons as well, but I really think he's going to go to Miami, and that's the prediction I'm going to stick with. He'd be great for fantasy if he went there too. Dallas Goedert, this feels like another wild card, similar to Dobbs. Will he stay with the Eagles? Will he go to Washington? Will he go to? I think I've seen Miami. I mean, there's just so many names out there. Where will Dallas Goedert go to? Carolina, I know needs tight end. I'm going with Denver. I'm not entirely sure why. Probably just because I think Sean Payton wants to spend on the position. I think he could be a solid fit there too. You know, you kind of have Sutton, you have Goddard, solid tight end. It's definitely an upgrade over Evan Engram at this point. So I kind of like the fit for Goddard. Don't like it for fantasy, but I kind of like it for the NFL and for Goddard to play football. I see him going to the Denver Broncos. Don't really know why. Besides that, Sean Payton will pay for the position. There's a bunch of other names too he could go after, like Cade Otton's a free agent. Pat Freiermuth, I think, is a free agent. A lot of names I'm not including here. Dawson Knox. But I am going with Goddard to the Denver Broncos. And one more name who I think is pretty exciting. The Giants getting Isaiah Likely. I know there's a lot of smoke around that. Will he follow Harbaugh over there? I think so. I think he'll go there. I think, that offense could really turn into something too. I mean, I listed Kevin Walker there. I listed Romeo Doubs there. I'm listing Isaiah Likely there. I mean, that would be an elite offense. You'd have Jackson Dart, Ken Walker, and Cam Scadaboo out of the backfield. You'd have Isaiah Likely and Theo Johnson at tight end. You'd have Malik Neighbors and Romeo Doubs at wide receiver. I think that could be a very, very fun offense. Will they get all three? I don't know. That probably would cost quite a bit. But I think there's a lot of sense as to why those guys could end up there. I think likely going there makes a lot of sense following Harbaugh. So I'm going with that. But yeah, those are my predictions. We can kind of keep tabs on it. I mean, how many guys do I have? 10. There's 8 here. 21. So we can see how I do. 12 out of 21, a little half. That would be cool. 10 out of 21. That'd be cool. But we'll keep tabs. We'll keep you guys updated as things pop out. Super fun episode. I wanted to get this out real quick before free agency. The tampering period starts in a couple hours today. Let me do a quick check. Let's take a look. Make sure that nothing has happened since. Let's see. No, looks like it's just still Twitter is going on about Rashawn Gary and Minkah Fitzpatrick. So, yeah, no news yet, which means I got all of these out before anything's happening. So I'll upload this fairly shortly. You'll probably watch it after some signings have happened already. Let me know how I did if that's the case. But yeah, thanks for tuning into this one. Next time we're going to be talking some potential breakouts, why we believe in them, things like that. Could be just me again, but keeping this one short and sweet, just getting it out real quick, getting those predictions out. So thank you all for tuning into this episode. See you in the next video. Peace.